Greetings, friends. My name is Pavlo Shtelmach, and now we'll unveil the top news of recent days. The Kremlin is now conducting a special military operation on Russian territory. During the day, battles were fought for the village of Teotkino in Kursk region. Representatives of the military alliance of the Freedom of Russia Legion, the Russian Volunteer Corps, and the Siberian Battalion announced that it had begun a liberation campaign. They entered the territory of Belgorod Oblast and Kursk Oblast. There is already information about the downed Su-27 in the Belgorod area. The main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine stated that Russian resistance troops operate on the territory of the Russian Federation as independent units. The Legion of Freedom of Russia declared that this way its fighters are going to the elections in the Russian Federation that will be held on the weekend. At the same time, in the Belgorod region, Russian rebellions took control of the village Lazovaya Rudka, and the decision-making center was damaged. Not Ukrainian, but Russian, in Belgorod. And in Ivanovo region, Il-76 plane failed. As a result of the crash, 7 members and 8 passengers died. In the footage taken from the neighbors, after the plane fell, explosions can be heard, so it is very likely that the plane was carrying ammunition. That's not all. The Lukoil refinery in Kstovo was damaged by the unknown drone. The work of the refinery was suspended. The primary oil processing unit was stopped. This means that at least half of the refinery's production is halted. By the way, it is the 4th largest Russian oil refining enterprise. Also, there is a video appeared from the Russian city of Oryol. An oil depot has been burning for several hours. It seems to me that the Kremlin special military operation was going in the wrong direction. At the same time, Moscow has already begun preparing for a concert celebrating Putin's election victory this weekend. The holiday of all Russian people will take place on March 18th. According to the Russian opposition publication Novaya Gazeta Europe, a special chat has been created on one of their social networks for the VIP fan zone of the rally, which will take place on Red Square. In order to enter the VIP fan zone, participants must enter their passport details to be checked by the Federal Security Service. The concert will feature Putin's favorite band, Lyube, as well as Grigory Lev's Stas Mikhailov and Sina Valeria. Russian musician Shaman is also likely to perform at the event. In addition, tickets for the concert, which will take place on March 18th, are distributed to students at universities. They were promised to be given merchandise and to be excused from school for the whole day. At the same time, the Kremlin has already presented an electoral calculation for future elections. Well, that is, Russian sociologists published this. But in fact, this is what the Central Election Commission will show. The average turnout for the Russian presidential elections will be 71%.
A recent Russia state-run poll suggests that the Kremlin aims for Russian President Vladimir Putin's predetermined support level to be around 80% in the upcoming March 18th presidential election, in an effort to portray Putin as legitimately popular and use the March election to legitimize Putin's next term. Report by the Institute for the Study of War.
Other candidates will get about 6%. Navalny, Prigozhin and Nemtsov will not take part in the elections because Putin killed them. By the way, for some reason in Moscow, they are very worried about turnout in the elections, so today's events in the regions bordering Ukraine can play a very bad joke on Russian pseudo-democrats from the Kremlin. But elections must take place regardless of what happens outside of the Sadovaya Koltso. Russian authorities are creating a system of re-education and digital control over children taken from Ukraine to Russia after the start of a large-scale invasion. This is stated in an investigation by the publication Medusa. Documents and officials confirm that this is a program of indoctrination of Ukrainian children who are instilled with the idea that they will no longer return to their homeland. At the same time, officials are afraid that Ukrainian children will maintain a negative attitude towards Russia and in the future will oppose the Russian authorities. It was the mass removal of children, which the Ukrainian authorities call deportation, that became the reason for the International Criminal Court to issue arrest warrants for Russian President Putin and the so-called Commissioner for Children's Rights in Russia, Maria Lvova-Belova. The documents of the Ministry of Education in particular say that Russian teachers are faced with the task of reorientating and establishing the Russian identity of the younger generation of the occupied territories of Ukraine, in particular educating them on the basis of Russian spiritual and moral values and getting rid of destructive ideology. This ideology is in particular spoken of in the manual entitled Prevention of Conflicts, Manifestations of Extremism and Terrorism in a Multicultural Educational Environment, and in the dictionary attached to it, which contains words and expressions that Ukrainian children can use and which the Russian authorities consider manifestation of nationalist ideology, including negative assessment of Russia and Russians. And tell me now that it is not a genocide of Ukrainians and our future as a nation. That concludes our today's video. Thank you for watching. Stay updated, comment, like and subscribe to our UATV English channel for more news from Ukraine. Your support is that really matters. Goodbye.